Alright, let's do something we haven't done yet. Today we're going to be talking about lore, so get those story hats ready. You'll notice we switched back to the Borealis background. Well, that's because the subject of today's video is Kul Tiras. As some of you may have noticed, in Stormsong Valley there are a few locations where purple glowing scrolls can be found, and if you do a touch on all 8 of them, you'll get an achievement called Legends of the Tidesages. What I'm more interested in, however, is what the scrolls say. They seem to be short passages about how the Kul Tirans first came to, well, Kul Tiras, and the origins of the Tidesages' magic and control over the seas. So let's go through those now and see if we can spot anything that might just be a little bit out of place, and then we'll discuss, shall we? First, like any great story, we start in the beginning. In the beginning, we were blind. We were lost. We left the howling streets of our homes in search of greater existence. In the end, we found the sea, or rather, it found us. First of all, let's talk about the howling streets, because this could be very literal. 2,700 years ago, before they were Kul Tirans, they were actually Gilneans, and as most of you are probably aware, pretty much every Gilnean in existence has turned into a very good boy or girl. The timeline at that point is a little bit muddy. In my research, I couldn't exactly find the overlap of where the Worgen curse and the Kul Tirans leaving Gilneas. It was all a little jumbled, so I don't know if this is just a nod to it or if this suggests some overlap. But the one thing I need you guys not to overlook is, or rather, it found us when they were talking about the sea, because that is red flag number 1. Now, the second scroll reads, "Though the waves howled as home did, it was not the shuttered existence we knew. For most, that was enough. With each rise came loss, but sustenance, and with sustenance, freedom." This one doesn't have much in it, just proof that the Kul Tirans have a very strong tie to the sea, and it gives them a sense of freedom. So we're going to move on to number 3. We scanned the horizon for home, sailors' eyes on the horizon day and night. We knew not what we sought, a matrimony of earth and tide that might shelter our children from the tumult of life at sea. Another sort of filler scroll. It's just more exposition about how interested they are in finding a new home and exactly what the point of their journey is. But things start to heat up a little bit when we get to number 4. Stormsong was the first to hear them, not the crashing waves at the surface. Gentle whispers, imperceptible to all but him. They guided his mind ever deeper, revealing untold truths of powers within him. We would never be the same. So this one has a lot of concerning things all at once. There's a lot of textbook sketchiness going on here. My immediate question is, who is whispering? My second question is, why did it target this ancestor of Lord Stormsong, and why did he give in to these whispers so quickly? It doesn't really talk about them being desperate out at sea, so I'm not sure why he would just kind of dive right into this. So we're going to move to number 5, but number 5 really does not quell any of the concerns that I have. It began simply. Stormsong's gifts guided fish into our nets and fresh water into our mouths. No longer were we slaves to the elements. We were masters. I'd like to point out that historically in storytelling, getting mastery and power over something very quickly from an unknown source is never really a good thing, and I would like everyone to keep this in mind as we remember that the Alliance is trying very hard to buddy up with these people and is relying on the power that they have a tremendous amount. But hold on to your seats because we're not done yet. As our Lord's gifts grew, others too heard the whispers. Soon the very wind in our sails was ours to command, the waves pushing us ever onward into the night. With time, our hulls impenetrable to even the worst denizens of the deep below. This to me feels very sneaky. Most of the benevolent deities in Warcraft have shown up to everybody all at once, and then they're praised and worshipped for the good that they provide to the people and the power that they have. This is how pretty much every troll Loa works. We even see the Tuskarr in Wrath have a very well-known and revered water god. The idea that this being didn't start talking to everybody until they saw the power that it could give them makes me extremely skeptical of it. This scroll even specifically mentions the denizens of the deep below to kind of give us a good versus evil route, but I'm really not convinced that there's any good here. So before I go on too long, let's move on to number 7. The depth's guidance became clear. They guided us home, a new home. The land was rich and could provide for endless generations. We guided others to us, sending our sages to ensure safe passage. They've finally found the home that they've been looking for. It's extremely fertile and it's a very good find. They use their newfound sea powers to bring everyone else over to this promised land. There's nothing really to comment on here except it seems a little convenient, so let's finish up. Let's read the last one. House Stormsong laid claim to the most fertile valley in the northern reaches. It took our Lord's name as tribute for our gifts. we were home. This one just pretty much wraps up the story we've been told. The only issue I have with this one is there's a lot of reverence that's placed on the storm song that first led them there, which can be dangerous, but isn't immediately concerning. So with the scrolls read, let's talk about some stuff. I wanted to see what research I could do and what things I could find about the Tide Mother, because this is what the Tidesages call their deity. What's concerning is that there really isn't much that's known about her at this point. And what's even more concerning is this part where they talk about how the voices changed to become demanding and violent. So it seems we have a couple options here. Option 1, in actuality, the Tide Mother is everything the Kul Tirans hope that she is. She's a benevolent being that tries to help them, and she's either disappeared or her communication with the Tidesages has been taken over in some way. Or option 2, all of the Tidesages have been actually worshipping and gaining power from an old god or even Queen Ashara herself. I mean, let's keep in mind that she's been doing who knows what for a very, very long time. Honestly, neither option is very good, because either way, the entire way of life and power source of the Kul Tiran people is in jeopardy. Not to mention the fact that the Kul Tirans don't bury their dead. They channel the souls of the dead out to the sea through these rituals of release. Whatever this Tide Mother actually is has been fed the soul of every deceased person from at least Stormsong Valley for thousands of years. And if you're not aware, souls are stupid powerful in Warcraft. Draenei souls were used to open the Dark Portal, the Burning Legion used souls to power their army, and currently Bwonsamdi uses souls to get stronger and stronger every day as the Loa of Death. This unknown water deity has no doubt grown extremely strong from all the souls of the Kul Tirans over the years. Let's just hope that they've been feeding something good and not something terrible. And I understand the ties to the Void Elf story and the story that was told on Argus, where the good things aren't always good and the evil things aren't always evil, but let's consider the possibilities here. Either way, it seems like all the voices from the Tide Mother have changed recently, so even if she was a good thing, whatever's talking to them now is not. There are so many people, and there's tentacles coming out of them, and there's boats. Have you been to Stormsong? It's insane. And if it has been an evil creature, which it kind of seems like it has been, what is to stop them from just taking away all the power they've given to the Kul Tiran people as soon as they defy them? And then the Alliance is really up shit's creek, because they put a lot of faith into a navy that has just lost the entire reason they were so powerful in the first place. But we have to keep in mind that this is a lot of speculation. We do not have a lot of concrete info about the Tide Mother. So just like everything else in WoW right now, we're gonna have to wait. But I would like to know what you guys think down in the comments, and until next time, do it up. Just do it up super big, and keep it classy.